org today and join our deep dive Romans live Bible study. You'll have a chance to interact with teachers, get discounts on our merchandise, become a gold subscriber for $5 a month. It's like a quarter of Bible study, and you get all of this and more. MyHT.higherthings.org. Subscribe today. All right. A dessous, but you, if you. Now, before we were talking about they, and then we were talking about you. And the you that we were talking, the they was the unbelievers, those that God has handed over to their sinful lusts and their all sorts of manner of evil. Then he turned the tables and said, you judge others. You do the same things they do. How could you seek to escape the wrath of God? And it's almost as if there was a defense that would have been made that, well, I'm Jewish. So Paul begins to say, look, it's not what family group you're in that matters, Jew or Greek. It's what you actually do that matters. It's not the hearers of the law that are justified, but the doers of the law that are justified. And if the Gentiles stumble backwards into doing the work of the law, they show that the law is written on their hearts. Their consciences having a battle between justifying them and condemning them. And it will all be brought into fruition in the day that my gospel, the day of my gospel, on that day, when according to my gospel, God judges the secrets of men by Jesus Christ. But you, a Jew, aponamadzo, this is an interesting word. Onoma is the word for name. You named yourself, basically. You call yourself. This is a passive. You are called by your. I mean, it's like sort of a you're calling yourself a Jew, and you are epinapau. You sort of are finding your rest or relying nomo kai sai into. You're relying on the law and you're boasting in God. And I don't know whether or not it's too early in this argument to determine whether or not this is a negative or a positive. I think Paul is trying to say, look, all right, you're a Jew. You call yourself a Jew. And you rely on the law of God and you boast in God. This might even be able to sort of do double duty. You rely on and boast in the law in God. I don't know whether or not this is a negative or not. And a couple of things are written here to determine whether or not Paul is actually writing to a Jew, or if Paul is writing to a Gentile who has become Jewish, or a Gentile who has been circumcised and therefore considers himself a Jew. I think we're going to need more text to determine what that is. And even afterwards, smart people argue about these things. And so if you're one that sort of thinks that Paul is talking to Jews, that's okay. If you're one who thinks that Paul is talking to Gentiles who have been circumcised and want to be Jews, I think the argument remains the same. But either way, there's evidence for both. And I'm not quite at the point where we're in this reading where I'm able to make a definitive call on it, and you shouldn't be either yet. We might make that call, and we might find that it's irrelevant. Let's keep going. But I don't think that this is negative yet. I don't think this is patronizing. I don't think he's patronizing the person. I think he's saying, look, you call yourself a Jew, and you rely on you sort of comfort in the law of, and you boast in God. And nomo here could be the law of Moses. That would make the comforting not necessarily a negative. And thelema, the will, his will, and his will, and you approve of that which is worthy or that carries through dia pharonta. You've got pharaoh, which means to carry or to bear, and dia, which means carries through something, and something that carries through is something that's worth more than. So like the will, and what carries, what's most important, because you've taught it out of the law, having taught it out of the law, present passive, and you are currently teaching it. You're teaching the law. This is a passive, so you were instructed out of the law. Excuse me. It's a passive. So you were instructive out of the law. So look, you're a Jew, call yourself a Jew, you rely on the law, you boast in God. And you know the will, and you know what's excellent, what holds through, what carries through. And you approve of it, having been taught that ek tu nomu, out of the law. Law has appeared twice. Now, if I did this, it's all over the place. If I go up, you're going to see more of it. Look how much law. Look how much law is in the sections from 12 on. Look, I mean, everything that's law, everything is highlighted is law, is appearances of the word nomu, law. You are confident. It's a perfect. So this is an activity which was begun in the past and continues into the future. You have been persuaded or confident, convinced, and you did that to yourself, se'auton, that you are a leader. You're a guide. You're a leader. You're a guide. I need to make sure I swing back. Catch a Jew. Um, Jew became a shorthand for Israelite in the diaspora, in the spreading. When the Jews, when the Israelites were sort of spread out in the nations, when they were sprinkled out of their land, when they were sort of spread out, the people around them called them Jews. And then they picked it up. That's important to know. So, like, this is a word that in the Old Testament would have been Israelite, Judite. So, I mean, I just want you to sort of make sure you get that. So, you're a Jew who rests, who calls yourself a Jew, and you rest in the law, and you boast in God, and you know His will, and you approve of what is excellent, or what holds for sure, because you have been instructed in the law, and you are sure of yourself. You are confident of yourself as a leader, to be a leader to the blind. So you are a leader of, you lead the blind. And you are a phos ton en scote, a light to those in darkness. And so Paul is not, I don't think Paul is disputing that the person he's writing to is all these things. I don't think this is negative. I don't think this is sarcastic. I don't take that. I mean, this is a pretty important. You're a Jew. You rely on the law. You trust in you boast in God. I'm a Jew. I'm the God of Israel is my God. You're convinced that you are yourself a guide to the blind and a light to those who walk in darkness. Again, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Not at all. I don't think this is a bad thing at all. You are a pedagogue of the foolish. It's a great word. I'm going to pick that up here and take a look at it here. I'm going to drag BDAG over here so you can read it. You're an instructor. You're a teacher. I mean, this word is used here and in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 9. You're an instructor and a teacher. You correct the erring. It's a noble thing. You're a teacher of children. Didaskalon nepion. You teach children. Infants. Immature. Having the embodiment or formulation of the knowledge and the truth into nomu in the law. So like you're a teacher. You're all of this. You possess the embodiment of that. HigherThings.org/merchandise. You want a cup like this? I'll tell you about my bet some other time. But you want a cup like this. Listen to how that ice is. It's been working all day. Still got ice in it. You want this. There'll be cups like this on the store. very, very soon. You want this. You want this. It won't have the HT. It'll have our new logo on it. You want this. Your guide, you're assured of yourself that you're a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness. You are an instructor of the foolish. You teach children. You have the embodiment of the knowledge of the truth in the law. And so, that's a big and so. And we're going to get his argument right now. When you didaskon heteron, when you teach others, don't you teach yourself? Don't you teach yourself? While kerusoson may kleptain, while you teach people not to be kleptomaniacs, do you steal? When you tell others, don't commit adultery, do you adultery? You detest, what a great word, bedelusomai. You abhor, you detest, you hate idols. Do you rob temples? Like, do you practice what you preach? Or do you put on others something different than you yourself do? And I think here's where the argument turns. And what turns is, you got this stuff that you're doing. You're teaching to others, but are you doing it? When you tell people not to steal, do you steal? When you tell people not to commit adultery, do you commit adultery? When you tell them to abhor idols, do you go and rob the temple? You boast in the law. Second time we've had boast. Boast in the law. Yep. You're boasting in the law. Through your parabasis, your this is a great word as well, and it's going to be used a couple of times in the next few verses. This is your overstepping. You're overstepping. It's going to give you some information here. Bino to get into, para to over. So you end up in a place where you shouldn't be. You transgress, you trespass. But through your trespass of the law, you dishonor God. For it is written, the name of God is blasphemed amongst the Gentiles because of you. We're going to stop here. This is really, really important. We'll hit it on the deep dive. We'll talk to you soon.